Hi, everyone. This is Chaplain Jeremy Slido, and I'm stationed at Naval Support Activity South Potomac. And this is Stepping Off the Brow, a show for sailors and military-connected civilians where we look at life's issues on both sides of the ship's brow. So whether you are stepping off the brow to come to work, stepping off the brow to come home, or you're waiting for someone to step off the brow to come home to you, this show is for you. More importantly, during this time of COVID-19 and all the things about being in the Navy life, we want to introduce you to people and their stories that can give you strength for today and a bright hope for tomorrow. So, Christina, our guest today come from your neck of the woods. Could you introduce who's with us today?
So with us today, we have Lieutenant Stephanie Lash from BAW 121, part of Carrier Air Wing 7. And we also have Lieutenant Michael Mike Liskowski. Is that how we say it? I said it wrong. How do I say it, Mike?
Liskowski.
He's with HSC 2. He's currently you teach people stuff, right? You teach students how to fly?
Yeah, I'm an instructor pilot at HSC 2.
So Mike and Stephanie are both young married dual mill couple. So they have both done deployments and they're expecting their first baby in December. Woohoo! And the conversations around career, around how do you make dual mill work, how do you make deployment work, are really, really important for everyone in the military, and how does that shape relationship dynamics and everything else like that. So that's why we have Mike and Stephanie with us today.
All right. Well, could you tell us, y'all, just about yourselves briefly, where you come from, your education, your current job? And this is kind of a big bucket. Just tell us about yourselves.
How you met. How long you've been married. What's your family dynamic look like? And include all your family members.
So I'm Lieutenant Stephanie Lash. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I went to the Naval Academy. We actually met at the Naval Academy. That's where we started dating. So we got married when we were in Pensacola, and then this is our first duty station after flight school. I'm a naval flight officer in the E2 community, so I don't fly the plane. I sit in the back and do all the real work. Just kidding, I don't have to land on a carrier. And I am towards the end of my first sea tour, and I'll rotate my shore tour in about a month.
Nice.
I'm Lieutenant Mike Liskowski. I'm originally from Kennebunk, Maine. I went to the Naval Academy, obviously, because that's where I met my fantastic wife. And from there, went to Norfolk, where I went to HSC 9. And from HSC 9, I recently just selected HSC 2. So, as Christina mentioned, I'm now on my shore tour, so I don't have to worry about deployment for the next couple of years.
And then what does your family currently look like?
3 fur babies. We have one English bulldog, Lottie, who you might hear snoring in the background. She's right next to us. And then we have 2 cats that are probably sleeping somewhere around the house.
And what are their names?
Charlie and Yuri.
So just kind of talking to you guys. So Mike, your first tour was sea duty, correct?
It was, yes.
Yeah. So you both have done deployments, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you guys been married?
5 years.
Okay. So can you kind of talk to us about like how those dynamics work when one of you is away, one of you is back? Just kind of how that kind of works with your relationship.
So we kind of, overall, we've decided that it's more difficult to be the person at home, but it's more difficult to then be the person coming home at the end of the month. And, there's we've had not just deployments, but the workups that lead up to deployments away from each other. So you kind of, it's sad to say, but you like fall into a rhythm of being separated. And we're both fairly independent people. So like it's not that I can't function when Mike's not home. It's just, it's more difficult. Weekends aren't as fun. But one thing that's been really important to me is communication. And we've just looking, the people that we work with and other couples, everyone has a level of communication that they're comfortable with. Sometimes it's call every day, an email every day, or what have you. For us, we're comfortable with emails maybe most days is probably how it worked, and calling a couple times a month. But having both been on both sides of a deployment, I feel like we understand both sides. So if I'm home and Mike's on the boat and I don't get an email back from him right away, I don't go into crisis mode. It's like, well, they could be an MCON, or maybe he has an early flight, or there's not a computer available, what have you. But it is helpful, I think, because we understand both sides of it, so we're a little bit more patient with each other.
About what you would consider as the biggest challenge to being a dual meal couple.
I'd say probably the falling back in the routine when the spouse gets back. So as she was mentioning, we both are fairly independent people. So like when someone is gone, okay, I start developing my own habits again, what I like doing. And this could be something as simple as meal prep, right? So like I'm used to making a lot of stuff on Sunday and doing that throughout the week. And then when she came home, it was more of like, oh, we're going to do something like for dinner for this night, where I just kind of like laid it out and just kind of like went with the flow. So like coming back, you just like, okay, well, let's talk about this, like come to a mutual agreement about what we want to do and work together to find a solution for whatever the problem that may have been presented or has come up in that instance.
Also, I'm a lot less willing to eat rice and beans 5 days a week. So.
Say it again. Less willing to what?
Eat rice and beans 5 days a week.
Mm.
Well, good you were the only one living there, Mike.
So, someone had to feed the pets. So,
oh,
I really appreciate it. I need to go back to that previous question. So I wrote down, Stephanie, when you said that when the email didn't come in or the call didn't come or just you didn't get what you're expecting, you had said really that you assumed the best. Yeah, and that helped having been on that side before.
Because you understand the challenges that the person that's deployed is facing. So it could be MCON, or they turned off the internet for whatever reason, or just something as simple as they were trying to get some more sleep. So you have to assume the best, because you're never going to get an email at the same time every day, 7 days a week, because your life on deployment is so dynamic, where, you do the same thing day in, day out, but your timeline is different and you have nothing better to do than work 7 days a week. So whereas if you're at home, you're sitting in front of the TV or just working 7 to 3, 8 to 4, whatever your work schedule is, and you have a lot more downtime to email or send a care package or whatever.
To kind of piggyback off what you were saying to aviation, there's no set timeline. Like you don't have a normal 9 to 5 job, or even watches. Sometimes you can plan your watches out. Like we find out what we're doing the next day. It could be 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So you could be standing watch from 6 to 9 o'clock at night, and then all of a sudden you realize, well, okay, I'm briefing at 9 o'clock the next morning. I got just enough sleep. I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna crash in the afternoon, and that could happen to be the only time you could do emails or something that day, or make a phone call. So then you realize I didn't get an email today. I'm sure she needed a nap, or maybe she's in a flight, or something's going on. I'll hear from her at some point, and then she'll explain back fill me in what the delay was.
So it sounds like it helps that you both are in the same community.
It helps sometimes.
Okay.
It helps understand.
It helps you understand.
But it also makes it more difficult just I'd say just kind of in general. So like when I checked into my first squadron, in the first year I was in my squadron, I was home 60 days. And that was just all the workups and then rolling right into deployment. And then so you come back home after being gone a year, and that's when you have to start reestablishing the communication lines.
Except then I left a month later.
I was going to ask about that. So, like, what was kind of that overlap between him coming back and you getting ready to go out the door?
It was actually about 6 weeks. He came home, and then about 6 weeks later, I met my first fleet squadron. But I was only gone for 2 months. I only met them for the end of the deployment, but it was still kind of a tough. You know, he had just got home, and we're just settling into a routine, and all of a sudden I'm packing a sea bag, and flying across the world to meet a carrier on deployment.
So, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say the next year didn't get much better because I was probably gone 3 or 4 months, 2 to 3 weeks at a time the next year, and then she started workups.
So,
Okay, so I think it's time to get into our next segment. And this segment is called Ramming Speed. I don't know if you've ever seen Ben-Hur, the original Ben-Hur, where Ben-Hur is stuck on the boat because he's held captive by the Romans, and he's rowing, and they have to row at various speeds. Is this familiar at all? I think we're going to have a video showing this. But anyway, there's a speed that's called ramming speed, and that's where they're really kicking into high gear. So this is the rapid fire segment that we're going to do now. So, all right, Christina, you get the first question.
okay, Mike, Ariel or Jasmine?
What do you say, Ariel or Jasmine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ariel.
Stephanie, what is your favorite scent?
Like ocean breeze, like the candle ocean breeze.
I expected lavender.
Okay.
Tide.
Stephanie, place you want to travel to the most?
Most.
Ramming speed.
That's
I know
really
where to go.
hard to choose. Where?
Marrakesh? Morocco?
Oh yeah, Morocco. I would definitely say Morocco.
Nice.
Mike, when you're in the shower on the boat, do you wash your feet?
Yeah.
Do you reach down or do you pick up one foot and do like the stand on one
Please
leg?
stop. Please stop.
I just drip soap through my Crocs.
Okay, good. Next.
Oh, God. Stephanie, first celebrity crush. Or no, Mike and Stephanie, first celebrity crush.
How about this? I'll answer hers and she can answer mine.
Oh, yeah, I like it. I like it. Go for it.
Hers is Matt Damon.
Ooh.
Nice.
Can't remember her name.
No, I can't.
Got it. You got it.
Pretty names. I'm so bad.
So he doesn't have a celebrity crush?
No, he doesn't. I'm so bad with names.
Okay. Mike, who was it?
Well, so now the worst part is I'm laughing so hard I forgot.
Okay.
Okay. Mike,
Yes.
when you shower at home, do you wash your legs?
Yes.
You'd be surprised. It's actually a thing on Twitter right now. Different times. Some say no, some say yes. Anyway, next question.
Stephanie, if you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
70s. Woodstock.
That's 69, but we'll go with it.
Round up.
All right,
Round up.
Mike, what is the first routine that changed after Stephanie went on deployment the last time?
Rice and beans.
It was the implementation of rice and beans, it sounds like.
Okay, so final one for you both. Favorite junk food? Besides rice and beans.
Favorite junk. I'm gonna have to say ice cream.
What kind?
Well, actually, if we're really gonna go straight junk food, carrot cake.
Oh, yeah.
Walnuts?
I'm only allowed to get it once a year.
Walnuts?
Yeah, because he eats it the whole thing for every meal.
The whole cake?
I'll eat the whole cake in 24 hours.
Yeah, easy.
Okay, Stephanie, what's yours?
I'd say right now, it's a really hard question to ask a pregnant woman. Just to point it out, but right now it's Dairy Queen Hot Fudge Sundae.
What is it?
Dairy Queen Hot Fudge Sundae.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very specific.
It's legit.
Mm.
Could ask the pregnant woman what her favorite junk food is.
We've made a few trips there
Yeah.
recently.
I bet. Well, gang, that's it for today. Mike and Stephanie, I just want to thank you both for joining us. Like your insights just really demonstrate that you guys do talk. You do demonstrate a lot of grace to each other. There's a real desire there to grow. Also, your stories, y'all, Stephanie and Mike, your story also gonna, I know, give some strength for a couple, give a strength for a home, but also some hope as well. So thank y'all.
Our theme music is the song Josie O by Jamie Stone. Random Speed music is the song Music to Clean Your House To by Jennifer Levin. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts or guests and not the United States Navy. You can subscribe to Stepping Off the Brow wherever you find your favorite podcast. And of course, please feel free to share this with your shipmates, friends, or family. See you next week.